This video is sponsored by the Final Cut King. For high quality and professional tutorials on popular software such as Premiere Pro CS6, Final Cut Pro 10, Cinema 4D and Motion, visit finalcutking.net. Hi everyone, it's Eric from ecotman12.blogspot.com and welcome to my full review of the Vodafone Smart 3. Now a big thank you must first go over to Vodafone for sending me this handset over to review. Now this is a budget end handset from Vodafone and it's got some quite impressive specs going for it. The main selling point is that it's running Android 4.1 Jelly Bean. Now in this review I'm just going to go over the cons, the pros, and my overall opinion as to whether you should purchase this mobile phone. Now, the screen resolution of this is 480 by 800 and it's a 4-inch touchscreen affair, capacitive touchscreen obviously, and at the back it's got a 5 megapixel camera with an LED flash, and this camera is capable of capturing 720p HD video, and over there you've got a very nice speaker. Now let's first go into the bad points of this mobile phone. Now, one of the things I don't like is that these capacitive buttons. It's very nice that they're capacitive and they're not actually on the screen, but they have no tactile feedback whatsoever, so it always feels hit and miss whenever you're pressing them. Even though they might function, it does feel very hit and miss whenever I'm using them. Another thing I don't like is the keyboard. Now let's actually go into the keyboard. Now to do this, let's just go into the YouTube app and let's click search. Now, if I'm trying to type very fast, this is a capacitive touchscreen, you're going to be doing this. If I want to type very fast on the keyboard, I'd normally tend to press, about a couple milliseconds after I pressed one letter, I'd press another. Now, let me write down, this is a test. So, this is, as you can see, I didn't do that right, and autocorrection I would expect to normally kick in. But, what I don't like is that, you see over there, I'm supposed to write down this is. You see how I sort of struggled with that? Okay, now that was not the best of examples, actually showing it to you in the YouTube app, so I've loaded up the email application. Now I'm writing down this is a test. Okay, now test I did slower, but you can see tag S. Now that is because for some reason this does not sync up with the way you're typing. Let's do it again, but close up. Do you see that? It lags. It cannot keep up with the way I'm typing. I could type very fast on other mobile phones, even other budget mobile phones, but this one, the touchscreen on this one doesn't seem to accept too much input at once, which is a big shame because you're obviously going to be expected to obviously be typing very fast on these keyboards. We've been using them for years now. And that is a big shame. It makes it harder for me to actually write stuff down. So I'm always finding myself having to slow down. So instead of writing this test very fast like I normally do, I have to do this. This is a test. Now that can be a deal breaker to some because the touchscreen is not as responsive as it's supposed to be. And for those that like typing very fast, especially with social networking, this can cause to be a problem for them. So I don't like that problem with the keyboard right there. Also, I like the screen, but the screen hasn't got the best of viewing angles, and when you're watching back YouTube videos, the screen does look quite muddy. I'll give you a quick look at right now. I'll just very quickly go into one of my videos. And let's go into the Vodafone Smart unboxing. And there'll be a 5-second ad which we'll just skip out. Okay, now let me just scrub through the video. The downside of the video is that it looks quite muddy. It does not look it just doesn't look right. So the quality of the video does look very low, and that's not a very good thing. It's probably not translating as well into camera, but believe me, it does not look very good in person. And the final thing I do not like about this phone is just the placement of the volume buttons. They seem to be too high, and I always feel like they should be a little bit lower. So that way it's easier for me to use with a thumb to actually increase and decrease the volume with both hands. Those are all the main negatives I got for the phone. Now let's go on to the good things, and one of the good things is the speaker. Let's put the volume on full and you can hear.
I'm not sure if you can see that. There's a little latch here, as you can see it just on top of the headphone jack. A little latch over there. You can place your nail into that. Then you remove this top piece right over here. Once you remove that, then you can remove this piece. Absolutely stupid.
Okay, but yes, the speaker on this phone is amazing. Now, it's not fantastic, but I'm surprised at how good it is. Is this speaker really meant to be put into a budget mobile phone? really is very good. It's better than the speaker that I actually experienced on the Sony Xperia Z or Sony Xperia T, and this is a budget mobile phone. This really is a fantastic speaker. I'm very, very pleased with the speaker. I am incredibly impressed with the speaker. I can't express that enough. I'm very, very, very impressed with the speaker, especially considering this is a budget mobile phone. So props to Vodafone for having such a high quality speaker in there. But the only thing is that it's sort of half and half. The speaker is great, but you'd like the picture to also be equally as great, which it is not. It, like I said, looks quite muddy. So that's the one of the good things. The other good things is that it's running Jelly Bean, which means you get most of the good features of Jelly Bean. For some reason, you aren't allowed to actually expand notifications with 2 fingers. And one thing I do love is that you get toggles at the top. Normally you could do with certain versions of Android, you could pull it down with 2 fingers and stuff, but there's always something about having the toggles at the top as soon as you just pull down the regular notification bar. I know it's a little thing now compared to what Android normally has, but that's just one thing I really liked. You also have the very nice implementation of folders in Jelly Bean, and you've got all the really nice widgets which work quite well for the most part. And now let's go on to the camera. Now, the 5 megapixel photos, I'm not going to say that they're like a fantastically good point, but they aren't a very weak point either. They're sort of like just in the middle. Just wait for it. This has got a 1 GHz processor, by the way. And look, if you can see, if I pinch in, the quality is quite blurred and quite a bit grainy as well. But it's not too bad it's not as bad as I thought. So if I just go to some outdoor photos I took, for example, you can see a bit of detail in there, and you can also see if I just go in here, there's quite a lot of nice saturation going on here. Now, it looks clear on the camera, but it's not as clear. It looks a bit muddy, again, in real life. And I have recorded some HD video footage, which I've actually shown you in a previous video. And the HD video is acceptable. I'd say it's nothing good at all, really. The video is acceptable, as I said, but the audio quality from the actual video recording of this is really quite bad. It's not the best, and it seems quite distant. We should have better sound quality from video recording on even these budget mobile phones by now. So it is some of the better video recording I've seen on a budget mobile phone, but it is still not the best. Okay, so that's another one of those good points right there, and I mean that's one of the middle points right there. But the photos, as I said, I really do like the photos. They're not fantastic, but for a budget mobile phone, these are one of the best photos I've seen. Now, let's go on to the, well, I'm about to say web browser, but let's just show you a gaming performance. Now, there's Temple Run 1 and 2. I'm going to run Temple Run 2 just to actually show you the performance of a more high-end game. Now, Temple Run by no means is a high-end game, but Temple Run 2 is more graphic-intensive than the first one, so you should get a better idea as to how this would perform with gaming. It's not the fastest phone to load, though, so let's just skip that, press play, and show you how bad I am at Temple Run. Now, I'm looking through the viewfinder as I'm playing this, so I am much better than this, believe me. Oh man, that was terrible. I'm looking through the viewfinder. Trust me, I'm not that bad. I'm just looking through the viewfinder right now. Couldn't really see that. But yeah, game performance for the most part is quite smooth. I wanted to try the Amazing Spider-Man on here, but with the internal storage, it wouldn't let me. Spider-Man was too big for it, so I wasn't able to try that. Now, let's show you the web browsing. And let's go into my website. As you can see, I'm not typing as fast as I normally would. I'm going to have to sort of slow my typing down. So, bear with me as I do this. But the keyboard overall is very good because this is the regular sort of stock Android keyboard. You can't swipe with it though, which is quite unfortunate. Let's go to the full web version. Okay, it loads up quite fast. Flip round to landscape, and the web browsing I'd say is not the best, but it's certainly not the worst. And yeah, you can quite happily start browsing the web on this. And as always, if you actually click onto a link, it will actually take you to the website, and it's overall a fair speed. It's not the fastest, but it's still quite good. As you can see, it's loading this website up quite quickly still. So pinch to zoom works very well. Pinch to zoom does not feel as responsive though, I'll tell you that. It doesn't seem as responsive. Probably does look like that on the camera and is behaving quite well right now. But there is a bit of a lag when you're actually doing it. I hope you can see that on camera, but it's not the bestest of pinch to zoom experiences, but it's still quite good. And as always, when you zoom in with Android, just double tap and it'll reflow all the text for you, so you can just scroll up and down to read it. Sort of like HTC Sense, but here you have to sort of like manually double tap in order to make it all reflow. So that's all very good, and as always, you've got the great widgets from Android, although this one looks like it has to load. And also, something you got but from a budget phone, which you probably didn't even know you had, is not as cool moment here, Google Now. So you got Google Now on here. So location service seems to be off right now. Let's see if I can do something. What will the weather be like today?
Today's forecast for Derby is 17 degrees with rain.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, very fast. Now I did pick up my words wrong this time, or the weather be like today. So that's basically the microphone on this mobile phone. And whilst we're on the microphone, I'll just tell you, the microphone, which you can see right over there, for outgoing calls, and the earpiece for incoming calls, very, very good. Really cannot fault it. They've been, well, actually I can fault it, but yeah, they're not as clear as you see from other mobile phones, but for a budget mobile phone, I can't fault it as a budget mobile phone, because this is the best sort of calling experience I've received on a budget handset. And last thing I'll cover is battery life. Battery life on this has been good. I've been getting about a day to a day and a half between charges, and no problems. Overall, and that's with medium to heavy use. And if I was like doing low use, I'd get about 2 days with this. So I've been very impressed with this mobile phone. It's not the best out there, but obviously it's a budget mobile phone, and one of the first to run Jelly Bean. So one of the first budget phones as class to run Jelly Bean. So overall, I can highly recommend this phone, and as you remember, I actually said in my unboxing you could pick this mobile phone up for £95 on pay-as-you-go. Well, since then, Vodafone have dropped the price down to £90, so this phone is cheaper, a little bit cheaper this time, so you can put that money towards, say, a micro SD card, which will allow you to expand the storage up to 32 gigabytes, or you could put that money towards, say, some more pay-as-you-go credit or something. But overall, very impressed with this mobile phone, and can highly recommend it if you are on a budget. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Eric from ecomma12.blogspot.com. Please thumbs up, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see all of you in the next video.